it's always good to know your surroundings, like what's going on around you. So if something bad happens, you like have an escape route maybe, or maybe you have someone with you to help you. And in my case, it turned out bad, and so the lesson I learned was you should always listen to your parents, because my parents told me not to do what I did. So, all right, so it was this like Saturday. Me and my friend Tanner Davis, he lives by me. So I have this creek by my house. We usually go fishing, catch some fish, and it was like 3 miles down the creek. It led into the river, and I always said that some pretty good fish there. So we decided we were just gonna go down there, and so we're walking down. It's like 3 miles past my house, and we're just walking down the creek fishing, catching some here and there, and we get down there and to this spot, and we see like huge like holes in the sand all over. Like the timbers like all like flat and mowed down. So we're like, okay, this is weird. And I was like, oh, I bet those are cow tracks. And I was like, we're kind of panicking. We're like, hopefully we don't run into those when we come back up. And so we go down and we fish there for like half hour. And we're coming back, we come up over the bank, and there's a little calf standing off to the right. And we're just like, okay, so we walked and that ran off. So we thought we were good. We were all relieved. And we kept walking, and we saw a muskrat swimming across the creek, and it went up under the bank, and we were like panicking. We were trying to get it. We were going to go catch him. We got some logs, and we were going to hit it over the head. And so while we were looking for it, Tanner looks up, and he says, okay, you need to get down. And I looked up, and there's like 6 cows running right at us. Dust is flying up, and so we just squat down, and we're sitting there for like 6 minutes. So we're trying to think of a plan, trying to think of what we were going to do. And our fishing poles were over on the sandbar. So we're like, okay, on 3 we're going to jump up, and we're going to get our stuff, and we're just going to take off. So we go up the bank, and after the storm, all the logs were down. So we're jumping logs and running as fast as we can. We come to the end of the fence, and we jump the fence. And we get out there, and we're just looking around, and so we start walking out the fence line, and then the cows come running past us that were in the creek. We're like, okay, well, that was kind of pointless. How are we going to get back now? So then we had to jump back over the fence and run, and they just stood there looking at us. And where we went down, we weren't sure where we were going to come down. And we came down, it was like a 10-foot bank, and we both fell into the creek. And Tanner had a backpack, and it had our cell phones in it. So he was like yelling at me to get the cell phones out because he didn't want them to get broke. And so we get them out, and so we're good now. So we're shaking a little bit from the adrenaline, and we start walking back, and where we came down to the creek, it was like probably an 8-foot bank, so it was above our heads, and it was muddy and slippery. And so I hand him the fishing poles, and I grab onto some roots, and I get up there. And so then he hands me the fishing poles, and he comes, and I got it all wet from when I stepped up, so it's even slipperier. And he steps on the bank, and he slips and falls in the water. So I was gonna bend down to help him, but then there was this log off to the side, and it split off, and he's pushed off, and this side came up and smacked him right on the side of the head, and he drops and he falls back into the creek. And I'm kind of laughing because I didn't know if he was actually that hurt, and so I was like, dude, are you alright? He's like, dude, are we home? And I was like, no, we're still in the creek. So I had to help him up, and I had to give him a piggyback all the way home, because he was walking, he was like unbalanced, so I didn't want him to fall and get hurt worse. So I had to give him a piggyback ride like 3 miles home. And so we got home, and we told our parents that we were down at the creek fishing and some cows chased us, but we didn't tell them we were clear down by the river because they didn't want us to be down that far. And we'd done it like a few times before that and not told them. And so they still don't know we were down that far to this day. So think that you should always listen to your parents, and because most of the time they're right. You should always know what's going on around you, and if you see something that's like might not look right, you should probably turn around and go back.
All right.